Before we get started, folks, make sure you hit the pause button. Okay, go down below. There's a Rumble link. Go over to Rumble and follow us over there. QFS1776.com is, without question, the holy grail of what's to come. Okay, T-shirts. You got to get yourself decorated. This way people will ask you, what is XRP? What is the quantum financial system? What is this? What is that? And you send them where? To QFS1776.com, where they need to immerse themselves, because we're going to burn down this system down to the ground. And out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There'll be nothing to go back to. Believe me when I tell you that. Also, our Telegram groups down below. If you want to learn what's coming and you're sort of a little scared, I understand. Believe me, I was there too at one point. And if you need more than $10,000 worth of XRP or $1 million worth of XRP, you come see me. Send me an email at QFS1776@gmail, and we'll get you as much as you want. Gold and silver. Welcome to CarminesGold.com. Don't waste not even a second looking. Cheaper prices just don't exist. How important is it for you to own gold and silver right now? What does it mean to me personally? There's an economy that's about to crash beyond what words can explain. In 5 words, I'm going to educate you on gold and silver. Are you ready? You need to own some. Simple.
Welcome everybody here back to The Missing Link. Today we're excited to have back on for the second time an international podcaster, an entrepreneur with a passion for the American dream and pizza. And for the past 5 years, Mel Carmine has dedicated to enlightening everyday people about the transformative potential of the quantum financial system, digital assets, especially XRP. How are you doing today, Mel Carmine?
Doing great, brother. Thank you for having me back. I'm actually honored to be back with you, because things are about to take a massive turn. And see, I'm a big advocate of Nassara and Jassara, one flat tax, which everybody would love to just pay one tax instead of being taxed on every single darn thing that they touch, feel, and smell. And here we are. We have Donald Trump making his rounds on the biggest podcasting circuits in the world, like Joe Rogan, Patrick Bet-David, and some of the bigger names out there. They're getting millions and millions of views on these things. I mean, literally, she's getting 600,000 and 700,000 views, which is nothing to scoff at. But when you compare it to like 70 million views, with Donald Trump on one podcast, that blows her out of the water. So it's not even a contest at this point, brother. But everything that I've been saying, it looks like at this point, like, even guys like 107, I'm sure you know who 107 is. I'm sure your audience knows who he is as well. They're talking about the same things that we're talking about, which is basically that he's going to get rid of the, federal government by 50%. That's just like the appetizer. He's going to, shrink the government down by 50% for starters. Then he's going to get rid of the IRS. I've been saying that for the last 3.5 years. You know what I mean?
So what you talk about, this one, tax, this sales, it should be a sales tax. If someone buys something, then there's a little tax on there. That tax is what funds, things that are necessity. Right now, the way that I have it is, or the way they have it is, all these taxes and then loopholes and write-offs. Yeah, right. We could hear that. All these loopholes, and then some people don't pay taxes while everybody else is getting bent over. It's really unfair the way the system is. If there was just a one flat sales tax, you buy something, there's a little tax that goes along with it. I think that would be fair for everyone. Taxes, these, federal taxes, supposed to be voluntary, and it was voluntary in order to pay for the wars. It was never supposed to be mandatory where people had to pay taxes. The government was supposed to run without charging people this extra tax money, and that's why it's criminal. And then it's going to foreign corporations, like he said, in Puerto Rico, what it actually doesn't even help the people. It's just money that's being stolen by these foreign corporations to siphon all of the hard work that the people do, the money, and take it and use it elsewhere.
Jesse, zero of the money, zero, absolutely zero. Let me repeat that one more time. Zero of the money you pay in income taxes goes into fixing your infrastructure in America. Zero. Do you get that? Okay. And people they don't even want to research. Say, okay, listen, I just told you it's in Puerto Rico. Go look it up. You know what I mean? It's that simple, right? But anyway, I get aggravated because it's just like, hey, somebody's leading you by the hand and trying to tell you where the breadcrumb is at. Go look at the breadcrumb, analyze it, come back to us and tell us what you find, right? The next round will be like nothing you've seen before, and it's going to be it's going to be crazy, man. Look, here's another one.
Federal Reserve and for IRS for their headquarters. And by the way, federal courts have found that the IRS is a foreign corporation based out of Puerto Rico.
There you go. Okay. And 107. Now, let me play another one for you. You ever hear that there are 6,000 patents that they're hiding from us? Gee, I wonder if maybe one of those patents could be a flying car or several versions of a flying car that can get you from point A to point B. And I'm going to play another clip for you after this on Telegram. I'm sorry, on Rumble rather, where I got it all queued up, ready to go, where I say to 107, I say to him, look, I got the videos to prove that Donald Trump wants to get in the race for the flying cars. As a matter of fact, he's quoted saying, we got to beat the Chinese, we got to beat the Russians in the flying car race. And it's a little longer than that, obviously. But and he says to that, yes. And Richard Nixon gave him the plans for the over unity motor, which an over unity motor, if you know anything, is a free energy technology. It's not the kind of car that's going to pull over at a gas station, fill up and take off again. This car could go from Miami to Manila nonstop in probably less than 17 minutes. So that's what's coming. And people are going to freak out when this comes. It's wild stuff, brother. You know? Yeah. So we're going to get clean air. We're going to get clean food. We're going to get clean everything out of this. We're going to get the best water, the best air, the best food. They're going to have, committees assigned to RFK. These are people who are, the most experts in agriculture and how to put the trace minerals back in the food, in the dirt, and in the food. And you're going to see people turn around and their health in the next 2 years. You're not going to recognize people, Jesse, because people's health are going to turn around 180 degrees. You're not going to go to Walmart anymore. If Walmart even exists, it might not. And people are fat and ugly, and they got holes in their shirt, and they got missing teeth. You understand? It's all about to change. Everything is pointing towards Nasara and Jassara. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if they call it Nasara, Jassara, because what I'm hearing on Joe Rogan asks him, hey, are you thinking about getting rid of the federal government and putting in a flat tax? And he says, yeah, I think so. I could share that one too, I think. Let me see if I have it here. Here it is. Bango. I just shared the headline. Go to.
I like your optimism, and I sure hope this, stuff comes to fruition. It's just, we've seen it over and over and over that there's a whole bunch of promises before the election. And then once the election comes, and then all of a sudden there's a new, Trump, Russia collusion. They try to stop everything that he's doing and, hold back everything. And last time he said he was going to lock up Hillary, and, that never even came to the table. And it's just, we hear a whole bunch of stuff before the election, and then it seems like a lot of it doesn't seem to, a lot of it doesn't come to fruition. And, he did some good things in the last one, but then he was supposed to appoint RFK on the last one to the vaccine committee, which he never did. And, so hopefully now he's supposed to appoint him to this environmental and thing. And hopefully, like I say, hopefully this stuff comes to fruition, because it seems like politicians tell you a lot what you want to hear before the election. And once they get elected, then, it seems like they forget a lot of stuff that they tell us.
Yeah, but Donald Trump really kept a lot of his promises, and you had the best economy, the lowest unemployment in in the world. I mean, basically, you had Asian, Black, Hispanic, white. It doesn't matter what color or religion you come back from. It's like everybody was working, everybody was making money, the businesses were thriving, people had money in their pockets. I don't know why I'm not able to share this window called CNN. It's a headline that basically reads, I'll read it to you. It's Trump says he's open to eliminating income taxes and repeats enemy within, basically on a podcast with Joe Rogan. Okay, that's the headline. And that's on CNN. So I mean, CNN is saying this stuff now, so we won't be able to share that window, but there you go. I read it for you guys. So there are so many little breadcrumbs being dropped that basically say, hey, the document that Mel has at QFS1776.com, which is number 9, it's in the video column, but number 9 is not a video, it's a document, which is Nasara Jasara. All of these things that are written in there, which, by the way, if you're coming to the Quantum Summit on March 8th and March 9th, you're going to get an audio book of that actual document. So you can actually go on a long distance trip, say for about 4 or 5 hours, and you'll be able to listen to it in your car while you're driving if you don't want to read it. So everything that's in that document is starting to really, these are little anomalies, little breadcrumbs that are being dropped everywhere, even on PBD, which is Patrick's broadcast, that, these things that are in that document is the way we're moving towards. And I think the rest of the world will have no choice but to follow.
And like Joyce says, he was the best president since I have been here. He's definitely been the best president, since John F. Kennedy, right? That's in my opinion from all the research that I've done. I was not even born when JFK was president, but what I think. But again, then we all of a sudden we get Operation Warp Speed and all kinds of craziness that come from there. So again, we had
$1.75 gallon of gas, $1.75, $1.85 a gallon, depending what state you're in. Okay, for high test. We had inflation was way under control. I mean, things have gone up 300-400% since.
It's crazy now. It's crazy now.
Yeah. The level of inflation has been through the roof. Okay, where people are paying more for a used car than they were buying a new car for under Biden. Okay, all of this has to get fixed. I believe the number one thing he's going to do as soon as he comes in, he's going to immediately, day one, he's going to close the border. Number 2, he's going to open up the Keystone Pipeline. Number 3, he's going to tell the Food and Drug Administration, you're not telling us that we're going to put glyphosates and Roundup on our fruits and vegetables anymore, and we're going to grow everything here instead of importing it from Mexico. Okay, because we have great dirt in California, we got great dirt in Oregon, we got great dirt everywhere. We can grow incredible stuff right here, or whether it's hydroponic or a combination of the both. So all of this stuff is about to go out this back door, and something new is coming. What is that something new? I mean, we've been speculating at this for a long time. We've been talking to a lot of smart people who also have a lot of the answers and great speculators as what's to come. Yes, Donald Trump did a great job, and that was with him. With the Russia, with all the indictments, with trying to impeach him, that the hookers are peeing on him, right? And the guy's a germaphobe. If the guy goes into a bathroom and he washes his hands, he's opening up the doorknob with a piece of paper because he doesn't want to get germs on him. Okay, this is not the kind of guy that he would allow hookers to pee on him. I can assure you of that. Okay, so with all the distractions and all the noise, he was able to have the best unemployment record ever in the history of America. Those are numbers that you cannot dispute. The best economy ever. Okay, and imagine if the media and the rest of the politicians, Democrats and Republicans and people in the middle alike, were behind him. How much more he would have been able to accomplish.
Oh, 100%. On change of topic, quick. Nakra 294 from our Rumble says, Mel, I'm in Cocoa Beach now. How can I make an appointment for Staying Alive Center?
Sure. Just go to Staying Alive. Alive is spelled with 2 E's now, double E at the end, stayingalive.com. And just scroll down to the bottom. There's a telephone number. Pick up the phone, say, I want to make an appointment, and come on in. And we got incredible testimonials on that. Amazing testimonials. I mean, I can't even play some of these testimonials here because they're so, they're so fantastical that they might shut your channel down. I don't want to do that to you, but the body has this canning ability to be able to cure itself, the body itself, of any disease. And I'm actually doing an entire month myself, in the system. Every night I go there at night now, and I sleep there from 9 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm actually, I want to get younger again. I don't want to age. There's something about me and aging just don't get along. Well, imagine if you're able to live to be 150, Jesse, right? How much new technology we're going to experience in the next 100 years. Think about that for a second. And the technologies that Pat said that they're hiding from us, the 6,000 patents. How many technologies do you think that are sitting at Wright-Patterson, which is where those 6,000 patents are sitting at? How many of those technologies do you think might have to do with reversing your age or reversing disease? Think about that. There's no money in keeping you healthy. They got to keep you sick. They got to keep you desperate. They got to keep you broke. Okay. See, we've been onto them for a long time. We're waking up the masses. We are the new media, you and I, and the ex-limousine driver and the ex-taxi driver and the ex-pizzeria guy and the ex-pizzeria impresario and the ex-dry cleaner guy. We're the podcast sound. We're the ones telling the world that, hey, stop listening to CNN and ABC always broadcasting crap and MSLSD, okay, and listen to us. This is what's going on. So, even your schooling, for example, your kids are going to go to school and maybe in some kind of program that resembles StreamYard with little thousands of boxes where one teacher can teach thousands. And when you take a test online, the artificial intelligence grades you. You don't have to be the teacher's pet anymore to get a good grade. You can't do it. It's going to be completely legitimized, right? For 3 hours a day, and then let the kids go out and play with each other on the playground and get some dirt in their mouth, and that's the real vaccine. Let the body build its own immune system, right? That's where all of this is going.
I just heard this little clip, and they were talking about hemp, and they were saying before they made hemp illegal, hemp was grown everywhere. And everything
Absolutely.
was made out of hemp, including feeding people and the animals. And what hemp did was it actually, took any excess carbon out of the air. And what are they trying to do for this Agenda 2030 is, target carbon consumption because of this too much carbon. But if hemp was grown everywhere, then it would actually clean and filter the air. And if the air was clean and filtered, hence we would be a lot healthier. And then they couldn't control, through carbon credits. So I think the hemp revolution is the next part of what we need here, to be able to have our papers, plastics, fuels, all kinds of things made out of, instead of these forever chemical, unbiodegradable plastic, oil based, toxins and poisons that they are even feeding people through, the medications that they're giving them.
Yeah. Well, hemp, your first dungarees, your first jeans were made from hemp. Your first American flag was made from hemp. Your Constitution was written on hemp paper. A lot of people don't know that. Hemp, you can make cinder blocks from hemp that are 95% lighter than traditional cement cinder blocks that are literally bulletproof, meaning you could shoot it with a 50 caliber projectile and you will not penetrate it. Fact. Okay. Hemp, you can make clothes from hemp. Okay. You can make a car, not car parts, but like the interior of a car, it can be made entirely from hemp. I mean, the usability is overwhelming. They know that, and they really, technically speaking, hemp you could get, depending on where you live, you could do 3 or 4 harvests per year because it grows wickedly fast, and it was a threat to the ethanol industry and they didn't want that. Okay, so hemp itself, which is if you put hemp in your smoothie, it's got vitamin B12. It's got all the essential vitamins and minerals. Hemp powder could literally restore your health by a factor of 10, 20 better than when you're at right now. The hemp product, I believe, is going to be something that the administration is going to want to look at. But what's really important, and not to get off track, Jesse, I watched an interview on Patrick Bet David, and he had on none other than Eric Trump. And about 25, 30 minutes into the interview conversation, basically Patrick said, "Hey, would you ever consider running for president?" Because he is being groomed to be potentially I'm not going to vote for what's his name, Vance. Vance is a career politician. I don't know that this guy is as clean as they claim him to be. Yes, he seems to be very polished. Yes, but he's still a politician. I want a businessman like his father running the country after the father leaves. And I think Eric Trump or Trump Jr. would be, I think Trump Jr. is maybe a little more rough around the edges than an Eric Trump, but I think Eric Trump would be a very qualified candidate to be able to run in his father's footsteps.
And Vance is also, I believe, linked to Peter Thiel, and Peter Thiel is linked to some of these, deep state players. So,
Yes.
that's another reason why people are still a little bit weary that, the Trump train is, on the side of good.
Yeah. Well, look, the level of disruption we're looking at is going to be paramount. Hence the reason why I don't believe it's going to be rolled out all at once. Okay. I believe it's going to be rolled out in increments, because if they were to roll it out all at once and they say, okay, here's the, crystalline chamber med beds, here's the flying cars, here's, a flat tax. If they were to roll it out all at once, it would collapse everything as we know it. So I think it's going to have to be rolled out over a period of 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Okay. I don't think you're going to see, like day one, he's going to announce a flying car. I would love that. I mean, look, I always say, make the joke is, we're driving an extension of a Model T Ford, and that's what it is. It's still 4 rubber tires. Yeah, you got all the computers and you got all the fancy gadgets on board and the leather seats, but still, you're still driving an extension of a Model T Ford. So, I mean, just the automobile industry going away, just the entire airline industry going away is massive disruption.
But how long would you give, a Trump administration to talk about and release the 6,000 patents? First year, first 2 years, what happens if it doesn't happen the whole 4 years? Like, what would be something that would be acceptable, knowing everything that how long do you think they should be talking about it and start releasing these patents?
If I could have my cake and eat it too, I would tell them to release everything all at once and let the dust settle however it settles. Look, the universal basic income is going to have to come into play whether we like it or not. The universal basic income doesn't mean that you get to stay at home and watch Jeopardy and twiddle your thumbs and do nothing. A universal income means you're going to have to do something for your money, because we're moving into a very humanitarian nature. The whole entire thing is going to change so drastically that people are going to be able to get their universal basic income. But who's going to fund the basic income, I think, is going to be people like us, because this transference of wealth is going to end up somewhere. It's going to end up in my hands. It's going to end up in your hands. And so we're going to have a problem. Our problem is too much money. So when you have that much money, you got to put it to work, right? So how do you put it to work? You got to have humanitarian projects. You got to have managers. You got to have vice presidents, presidents, whatever, to run the project, whatever the project is, depending on how big it is. And some people have to do the grunt work. And those people that are going to be part of the humanitarian projects are going to get paid, whether it's $5,000 a month or $6,000 a month, but they have to go do something for it. We're not just going to hand them $6,000 a month for doing nothing. Does that make sense?
Yes and no. And I know that, like, the tribe says UBI is communistic, but in the trauma-based reality that's been filled with poison, there's so many people that are suffering, whether it's mental illness, physical illness, and people are having a really hard time just trying to get healthy. And so because of all the poisons that have been, perpetrated through everybody's temple, there's a lot of sick, weak, and mentally incapable people of, actually even functioning. And with the emergence of technology, and, there's going to be a lot less of these, mundane positions anyways, right? So people are going to need to taken care of. So there isn't going to be a lot of the jobs that are going to be out there that they're currently now, because they're going to be eliminated by technology. So when you say that UBI is communistic, people are going to need to have their needs met. And if there's no jobs, how are you going to get those basic needs met? If there's an abundance of things and work can be done, things can be built and things can happen and economy can be running with very minimal amounts of actual people labor. We don't want to kill them off like they want. They think useless eaters. People have got to be able to be taken care of. And I think when it does come to this new, horizon, healing has to be at the utmost at most people's lives. People got to heal from the mental, physical, emotional, all of the trauma and poisoning that people have had to, endure over the last, 100, 500,000 years that this evil has been perpetrated on humanity.
Yeah, and I don't know that I have all the answers, and I'm sure you don't either, because we could sit here and manifest until the cows come home. And we're not exactly going to get it exactly just right. But we can sort of speculate as to how things are going to work out. Will there be new jobs in new sectors, like, for example, the artificial intelligence? A lot of people are going to school right now to become programmers of artificial intelligence, because that's where the market is moving. Okay. The mothers and fathers are not telling their kids anymore to become doctors, lawyers, or architects. They're saying, go in and become an artificial intelligence programmer. That's where the money's going to be at in the near future. For how long? I don't know. How long does it take for that market to get saturated? What is the maximum potential of artificial intelligence? I mean, there's a lot of questions here that come into play. We're moving into a world where we're doing literally 180-degree turnaround as to where we were to where we're going. In the next 4 years, I believe that 180-degree turn will be complete, come full circle. And I will tell you that you will see the flying cars. You will see the life extension technology. You will see the Medbed, which is one of the videos I wanted to play for you. Here we go. Tell me if...
Yep.
You can see that?
2023 defense budget is something very interesting indeed. Within these documents is a proposal for something they are calling rapid healing for warfighter injuries. That is, technologies that can rapidly accelerate the restoration and repair of complex tissues. The document goes on to say the program will develop approaches that combine high-resolution biosensors to track the healing process in real time with bioactuators to stimulate restoration where and when they are needed. This sounds very much like the concept of medbeds, a technology shown in movies like Elysium that can heal any illness or disease.
Mind you, now he's actually reading from an actual military document.
Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Yeah.
From the Department of Defense.
Yeah. Now, how do I get rid of that window? I don't. There it goes. Okay. Gone. So, when you're talking about accelerated healing, accelerated, cell regeneration, you're talking about potentially growing limbs back. I understand the average person out there is not going to understand it. And the average person can say, no, that's can't be, but all of this is coming. And I believe it's coming underneath Trump. I believe that he's the guy that was chosen for this particular time. And you and I are basically, generals in this war trying to point people in the right direction as to actually point and say, do you see what I see? Do you see this? Do you see this? And some people are going to actually, a lot of people are now agreeing with us. That's why there's such a big movement.
Speaking of Mr. Trump, if you had the chance or opportunity to get to Mr. Trump and, he would grant you one wish to have the perfect world, how would that perfect world, according to Mel, be?
Life extension technology would be right at the top of the list. A flat tax of no more than 10% would be at the top of the list, but it would be a flat tax that everybody has to pay. No loopholes whatsoever. Not even for the Elon Musks of the world to get away from paying any taxes. Obviously, we do need some kind of taxation, but we don't need to be taxed to death as we are right now. Clean air, the most clean air possible, unleash those 6,000 patents. I'm sure there's probably several dozen of those patents have to do with reversing the air that we breathe back to pristine levels. I would definitely release those patents right away. The water immediately, because if you're drinking water with all the trace minerals in it, that's healing all in itself. The food, obviously, if you have food that is super organic and you have the dirt has been reclaimed, recleaned, whatever you want to call it, with extraterrestrial technology, that will be another thing. Flying cars, absolutely. I'm tired of going to the airport and having to leave a day early because I got to be in a meeting on Monday in Los Angeles. You understand? I would rather just wake up at my meetings at say 12 noon, which is 12 noon to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon here, Eastern Standard, right? So I would probably just jump in my flying car that's in my garage about 20 minutes before that meeting and be at the meeting in time without having to go through, a machine that's going to cause cancer and take my belt off and take my shoes off and put my luggage bags in all these stupid plastic boxes. And you know what I mean? And then get inside a thing that resembles a bird that goes at 600 miles an hour. That's ridiculous. It's an inconvenience. It's a dinosaur way of traveling. It's an outdated, antiquated system. It needs to go.